Been a busy day out here today. This is our third break in the live stream bushcraft build. We had 2 other live streams going on, but over time the iPhone either overheats or we lose the signal or something like that is going on, and we have to restart. So this is a restart of part 2. So I got a couple more bits of stone to haul up in here to wrap up my stone floor inside of my bushcraft build, and then we'll be taking a look at it while everybody's catching up with part 3 here, trying to get over here to this new window since the last live shut down on us. I'll go ahead and haul the stone on up here, and then we'll be wrapping it up for the day. So hopefully everybody can get over here from that other live stream, and we can just continue on. So here we go. Well, one of you made it. Just hauling stone up from the creek, finished filling in the floor. Sorry about the train coming through the valley there. Just about wrapped up with putting the stone floor in the shelter. So I got a couple more piles of stone to bring up in here to get this floor done, but we're going to try to take a look at it here right quick from up above. Yeah, it's a trilogy. Technical difficulties while live streaming. Whew. That's a pretty stone floor, right? What do you guys think? That's 3 hours worth of work right there. 3 hours to get that done. Now it needs cleaned up, obviously. It's got to settle. We got a few more cracks to fill in. But yeah, that's a pretty good stone floor inside of our bushcraft build. Not bad at all. I'm happy with it. But guys, I'm fucking tired. Look at that though. That's some work. But I'll tell you what, laying on these cold stones right now is actually kind of cool. We got the bigger blocks going around the edge back there. You can see the bigger blocks all the way around the edge. Then we got all this flat stone, and now we got the blue shale coming in here. We got to clean all of this off. And whenever it rains, it's going to wash all these small particles and everything off of here, and we'll have a nice polished floor that should settle up pretty good. But yeah, that's not bad for just the floor of the structure. I like it. See if we can get up a little bit higher, get up off my lazy ass, get up a little bit higher and take a different point of view here. Now this is all experimental. I got cables and everything on this camera, so it's kind of pain in the ass, but we'll try to give you guys the best views of this floor that we can. So you see how that blue shale is just lighting up around that darker stone like I was talking about? You can see it really well there. That's going to reflect a lot of light at night. And it's going to make it a lot more cozy inside this shelter. I really need to get this damn limb cut out of the way. It gets in my way all the fucking time. And I've been meaning to cut it off, but I haven't yet. So I got this little corner over here to do yet. Once I get that back corner there done, the floor is done. So we got one more haul for the day. Maybe two. I think I can get it in one. I got another crack over on this side too, so 1 or 2 more hauls, and that's going to be our workload for the day. We put it in today, guys. We only been out here at it for 3 hours, but we put it in on that floor today. Oh. And I got to test out the magic properties of my axe. I'm breaking this damn stone up. But honestly, guys, I'm doing this. I am sweating my ass off now. I'm hot. I'm tired. I'm starting to get sore. So even 3 hours into this stonework part of the project, man, it's some work. So before I hauled up that last 2 for that back corner over there and this one side over here. After that, we're just done. We're done with the work as far as today goes. Maybe brush off the stones a little bit, so whenever it does rain, all I need really is a sprinkle to help settle this down. As long as it gets enough on there to just kind of knock the dirt and everything off of it and just wash everything down where it settles. The next time we come out here. Yes, I need food and coffee. We're gonna settle for dipping wine. Because I just want to get this done. Like I said, I still got some other work I got to do out here after the live stream. So. Oh. Yeah. Not bad. I only got about 2 sips of wine left. Two more baskets, and then it's just detail work after that. You know, might bring up 1 or 2 baskets after that just to, you know, fill in a little bit more. But I think 2 more will be good enough for today. I have to walk down the creek about, I don't know, maybe 30 yards to get the shale. I thought this was actually going to be easy because the last time I was down here, I had a deposit of shale, a big old mound of it right there. But then that flash flood came through. Hey, thanks, Tyler. flash flood came through and it knocked out my mound of blue shale that I had down there. So that whole deposit got washed away. So now I'm having to hike down the creek to find more blue shale to fill in these cracks. So it's not as easy as I initially thought it was going to be. I thought I was just going to be able to haul out of that pile, which is right there at the bend in the creek. Nope. The Huntsman has to do it the hard way. Mother Nature come along and just washed that shit away. Shit. Alright, now we got a few people that caught up with us. Now, as annoying as the live streams cutting out are, hey, Passion. As annoying as losing a live stream is and you have to start it all over again, it does give you the opportunity. Hey, Jessica, you beautiful woman, how you doing? It does give you the opportunity to put different hashtags and metadata in your video whenever you get back home and process it. So there are advantages to actually having a live stream cut out on you. For you, those of you guys that just come in, we put the stone floor in the Bushcraft build today. We got 2 more baskets of blue shale to bring up, but we'll go ahead and give you guys a look, for those of you just coming in, at the stone floor we put inside my shelter today. So there she is, as best as I can show you. Black rock dug up out of the forest floor, filled in with blue shale to kind of light it up. So that's what we did today. We brought out the magic axe and busted up this fucking stone and got it put inside our shelter. 2 more baskets, guys. 2 more baskets from the creek, and we're gonna call it a day for the workload. So I'm gonna go ahead and go grab one of them, and we'll get these last 2 corners filled in, and our floor will be done for the day, at least. We'll let it settle up for a few days, and thank you, Passion. We'll let it settle up for a few days, come back out here, do the detail work on it, which really don't need to be, you know, that's nothing. And then after we get the detail work done on it, we'll start putting our walls and the rest of our, you know, back wall in, the stone wall in the back. And then, oh, this is a custom made, this was custom made for the series, for the regular Huntsman episode. And it's just, I carry wine or bourbon, whatever I want. And it's got a clasp on it there. I just have it hanging on my belt. And it's tempered glass, so this stuff, I mean, you could hit it with a fucking bullet and it's not gonna break. It's real thick, heavy glass, so I don't have to worry about it busting or anything like that. But yeah, had a guy rig that up for me. Thought it'd be a little bit more my style than a titanium canteen, so that's what I just carry my alcohol in, basically, you know, because I'm always coming out here with cognac, whiskey, wine. Today I had it filled with Apothic Rosé wine, and that's what I was drinking out of today. No canteen, no cup, no nothing. All I had was this. Yeah, this is what I brought out with me. Kind of unconventional bushcraft gear, right? I like the old style stuff. It's just like this here. I don't have my my spyglass with me, but I do have my compass. This is the compass that I use. I don't use a military compass or anything like that. This is the compass for the series. You might have seen it on some of my social media pages. And it's got the hourglass there on top. So we have that. And then it pops open like a, kind of like a pocket watch. And then you can use it from there. So yeah, I use this old school Victorian style compass whenever I'm hiking, rather than a military style or GPS or anything like that. I'm using this thing here. And instead of using a pair of, like, you know, $600 pair of binoculars, I use a spyglass that only magnifies like 10 times. So the older stuff like this, kind of steampunkish, Victorian age type gear, I'm all about carrying that with me rather than the modern stuff. And it's just like this here. This is something you see out of a fantasy novel, right? Nobody carries this. I'm the only one carrying a fucking water container like that. So, you know, the gear that I have, it's just unconventional gear. I mean, the cheap stuff that I have, like knife, axe, saw, that's stuff you always see. But seeing stuff like this here, guys just don't have vision like this. They don't have that kind of imagination. And I just have this on my belt. Usually, you see this piece of kit here, my Han Solo. I talked about this in my my last live stream. That's just a hip pouch. And I carry a lot of shit in there. I usually carry a ferro rod in that pocket there, and then I carry my iPhones and everything on the inside, and it's waterproofed. So I have this on me rather than the backpack most of the time, and I have this clipped right there on the belt, just like that there. So it rides like that, and then like I said, it's got the clasp there on it, so I can just pull the bottle out. I don't have to take it off of my belt. And then I just put it back in, snap it back down. And that's basically my go-to rig for day hikes. There's nothing more fancy than that. I call it my Han Solo because it looks like Han Solo's gun pouch, right? And then I got my little Huntsman decanter there working for me. So yeah. Oh, gear, guys. Gear you don't see anywhere else. You want to buy one? If you want to buy the hip pouch, if you look at my last live stream, where I was doing the gear, talking about bushcraft gear, I left links to all of the places that I get my gear from in the link section of that last live stream. So go back on the channel, look at the live stream where I was talking about hyped up bushcraft gear, and I left links, hyperlinks, down in the description of the video that'll take you to the store where you can get the hip pouch. You can get everything except for that there. If you guys want, if you're interested, I can leave links to my spyglass and my compass, my steampunk spyglass and compass, that I usually carry with me, and I usually carry it in the hip pouch, down in the description of this video after the stream's done and I get back home. I can offer you guys hyperlinks to the stores where I get my Victorian style bushcraft gear, rather than all this namby-pamby shit everybody's carrying around today. I like to have a little style. So yeah, I got Victorian steampunk gear, and I'll leave hyperlinks in the description of this video so you guys can go out and get you some too. If you do happen to put it up in your video though, let them know where you got the idea. Just say, hey, Huntsman carries this shit. Check this out. And then I always have this with me. This is my Deep Woods Bushcraft and Survival bushcraft knife, and that's got a black pearl handle on it. This is my everyday carry whenever I'm out in the woods. This is the bushcraft knife that I have. That's classic bushcraft knife right there, aside from that black pearl handle. I love that handle, though. Won this in a contest, didn't pay a dime for it. Something moved in the woods again. I think I'm surrounded by deer. I keep smelling them. I heard something walking up on the top ridge over there, and I just heard a heavy limb break over that way. The birds are getting loud too. If you guys pay attention to the birds when you're out in the woods, they start sounding alarms whenever something's moving through the woods that shouldn't be moving through the woods, and I've been sitting here for a minute. Those birds should not be going off like they are. So something's out there. Just trying to listen for footsteps right now. So I had a limb break in front of me. I got the birds alarming behind me. Probably surrounded by deer. Or a damn Sasquatch. I'm ready for a Sasquatch though. My axe took out this fucking stone floor. It can take out a Sasquatch. So yeah, my Deep Woods Bushcraft and Survival knife, I always have that with me whenever I'm out. And my other knife, I have it tucked down in my shirt right now because I've been hauling shit and I didn't want it to get all tangled up, is my Heli Mandra. I always carry this with me. This is like a ritual thing, me carrying this knife. And I've actually got pretty good at throwing this knife too. I've been using it as a throwing knife. Now that's a $300 neck knife, and I've been using it to fucking kill rabbits with. On an upcoming episode, I'm gonna take you guys to my training grounds. The training grounds is a video we're gonna be doing where we'll be using unconventional hunting gear. In a way, we'll be using our bushcraft gear as weapons. I got a martial arts background, and so if anybody that follows the series probably knows that by now. But I've been taking my martial arts background and I've been mixing it with your typical bushcraft gear and turning neck knives into throwing knives and using my axe as a throwing axe. I got regular throwing knives, martial arts style throwing knives that are perfectly balanced and good for killing a rabbit with, or a squirrel, or anything else that you might be able to hit. We have targets set up, we have a compound bow, we have a blowgun with darts, 3 different types of darts. Some of them have barbed tips. So outside of the series, when I'm not out here filming or doing a project like this, or just being the general asshole that I am, I'm at home training. I got a home gym, got my garage all fixed up, got targets set up. We got targets for throwing knives, targets for the compound bow, targets for, we got the punching bag. Always doing my martial arts training out there, going through forms, working with the sword, which is something that you don't see anybody doing anymore, but working with bow staff, kendo sticks, size, and then on top of that we put in the blowgun, the bushcraft axe, knife. I want to learn how to use these as weapons, not just as tools. So the reason I do that is kind of twofold. Historically, a lot of people couldn't afford actual weapons, martial arts weapons or swords or anything like that back in the day. They had to use what they had. A lot of the weapons that martial artists use today are basically made off of farm tools. So in a shit hit the fan situation or a survival situation, or if everything just ever went to shit, I don't need a gun. I can use my tools as weapons. And the reason I can use my tools as weapons is because I spent all these fucking years practicing with them, not just as wilderness survival tools, but as weapons to use. So we set up targets, we set up different kind of punching bags and stuff like that. And rather than using them out here in the woods, we're using them in the training facility, so we can develop our skills a little bit further than woodworking. So in an upcoming video, we will be going to my training grounds and we'll be going through some of the martial arts stuff. We'll be going through some of the unconventional weapons that I use whenever I'm training. How I turn this axe, I got it out here doing this bushcraft build today, but tomorrow, if I happen to get bored and I'm just sitting around the house and I ain't got nothing to do, I might take this same fucking axe that I'm out here doing woodworking with today and throw it at a target trying to stick it in some dude's head. So we get that good spin to it and stick it. Same with my damn bushcraft knife. Throwing this as a throwing knife. It's got pretty decent balance to it for a throwing knife. So you get that down as far as a throwing knife goes. You can take out a rabbit, a squirrel, or a guy just with your bushcraft knife. Same with the neck knife, using it as a backup throwing knife. And this throws like a throwing star. It's that small. So we are going to be going to my training grounds, and we'll be going through martial arts training with bushcraft weapons. So that'll be something that you'll see here, and you probably won't see little Joe Robinette doing anytime soon. I don't think that guy's been in a fight in his life, unless he was getting his head dunked in a toilet in junior high. Anyway, I got 2 more hauls to do to get this stone floor done. We sit here and had a little chat now. I'm going to go ahead and get these last 2 loads brought up here, and then we'll sit down and we'll get our wrap in for the day, guys. This is the 3rd live stream. I've been going at it for 3 hours now. I still got work to do before it gets dark, so yeah. We've been at this for about 25 minutes now. I got 2 more hauls of stone to work up. And I did notice something about my basket. If you look, whenever I was knocking this out, I put this curve in here. You see how I cut that out? You see where I knocked that curve out? The reason I knocked that curve out of the one side is because when I'm hauling this, that curve fits right there in my belly, so I can haul the stone right there, and it's a comfortable fit. The last haul that I brought up here, I had this thing turned around backwards, and this is digging into my gut while I'm trying to haul. That was not comfortable. So when I knocked this out just to haul stone in, I made sure to put that curvature in there. I did it without thinking about it because I've made these a million times before. Put that curvature in there just so it rests up against my belly while I'm hauling this stone. So that's a little trick that I used right there. Multitasking. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these two last loads of blue shale up here. We'll take one last look at the floor, and then we'll get us to a different area and have a sit down for the wrap up of this nice little Huntsman live stream trilogy that's taking up the entire fucking day. So while I'm down there gathering up the stone, you guys can mix and mingle. But if you could, since this is a new live stream, it's part 3 of today's series, please share it on Twitter and Facebook. I can't do that from my phone right now without interrupting the stream, or maybe I lose the stream. So if you guys are in here, could share it out, I would really appreciate it. Might get a few more people in here, and they can take a look at this shelter and our progress for today, and they can hang out with us for the wrap-up. We'll go over everything that we've done today, how we did it, and take a look around, sit down, and we'll have our wrap-up lessons. Get your guys' feedback on how you think this project's going, and some ideas that you might have as far as making the next live stream a little bit better. I'm gonna go ahead and get the stone. You guys share it out, hang out for a second, and I'll be right back with you. Oh, I might have got lucky, guys. I could probably spend the rest of the day just trying to clean up this floor. I think we'll let Mother Nature do it though. We did get lucky on that last haul. I only needed one haul to fill in the last 2 seconds of the floor. Now, one more time, I'll probably have to let this floor settle some and bring a couple more hauls up as it levels out, but that is the workload for the day. That's done. We'll take a look at it here in a second. Let me put my shit together here. Whew. I tried sawing that log in the previous live stream with the saw on my machete. We were just testing that out to see if the saw edge on this machete would actually cut. It did cut, but not that well. This is my regular folding saw, and this thing cuts like a champ. We built this structure with this saw. So, machete's not recommended, but this little handsaw right here, highly recommended. Put all this shit back. I do got some wood processing I want to get done today, and that's for our next live stream as we start to close this shelter in. I wanted to get the floor in today just because it was easier moving around in there with the floor. One other thing I want to do real quick. It's been annoying the shit out of me all day, and it's going to annoy me again if I try to pick you guys up and show you this floor from up above like I did before. I'm going to go ahead and cut that limb off right quick. I'm going to use my saw to do it. That makes me a little bit happier. Just had this one little limb that was sticking out on one of the beams, and I had to cut it off. It was getting on my nerves. I didn't cut it off during the last live stream. I don't know why. Alright guys, let's take a peek one more time. There's our floor. Not too shabby. I'm gonna have to bring in some finer stone to fill it in a little bit, like, where's that, right here. Level that out and get those great gaps there filled in as it settles. But that's the stone floor inside our live bushcraft build. All done in a few hours today. Now hopefully after it rains, it washes all this off, levels it out a little bit better, and it polishes up that blue shale some. We're going to get some color pops in there, so because it's not just blue shale, some of it's sandstone. We got some reds, some yellows, some whites, but all a lot brighter stone that's going to reflect that LED light in there. Not bad for a day's work. So what do you guys think? Good deal? Good idea, bad idea? I burned up some calories putting that son of a bitch in. Tell you that for nothing. I got mosquitoes buzzing around my iPhone right now because my iPhone's warm. And one of the ways mosquitoes track you is your body heat. So they're actually thinking my iPhone is a living thing. It's that warm. They're trying to bite the iPhone. Yeah. Let me bring up this live chat window. There we go. So, environmentally, obviously having a stone floor like this is going to give us some protection in the wintertime, because we're not on bare ground, like on the dirt itself, but stones laying on the ground like this, they'll absorb some heat, but the ground underneath them is going to pull the heat right out of them. So it's still going to be a cold floor in the wintertime. It's just going to, back there where the fireplace is, it might be a little bit warmer. And then Probably have the bed over here on this side, and this side where it angles down a bit is actually going to be a storage area. So that angle I really don't mind because I can tuck a little bit more down in there. These beams here will have supports going, we'll have 3 supports going down through there to help prop them up some. I have the 1 support in already over here. And where those beams are, that kind of gives me sections, kind of like dividing walls, where I can store different things in different sections of that kind of crawl space that's there. So from the beam down, that's just going to be storage. Same over there. Can have candles out here. Like I'll bring candles in glass jars out here. Have a couple of them on hand. Probably not use them. Those would be emergency. Yeah, he probably would have. Well, let's see, now the difference between me and Joe in that situation is he's powered by breakfast bagels and I'm out here with a bottle of wine. So if I had the Superman breakfast bagel that only Joe Robinette could fix, I could probably have this up in 10 minutes flat. But I didn't bring a breakfast bagel with me. I just brought wine and dip. So we do it the hard way, and we got to leave the superpowers to the superheroes. The only superpowers I have is in my axe, and those of you who saw that stream, this little axe busted the shit out of this stone. Look at all that. That's stone dust that got caked up on the back of my axe as she was plowing through that rock. So, yeah, like I said, my axe is going to get some tender loving care when I get home. She earned her keep today. Whew, man, I'm tired. A few hours of that shit, man. That's like I said, you don't want to be doing this and consider it wilderness survival. This is fucking hobby camping right here. This is a project that you do over time. It's not something that you just want to slap together and call it a survival shelter. This ain't a survival shelter, it's a fucking cabin. It's just a 1-room cabin, that's all it is. We got a stone floor, we're going to have a fireplace, we're going to have crawl spaces on each side for storage, and maybe a little space up top at the peak. Like I was thinking about running a beam up there across on the peak and putting up, building a crawl space up there, or kind of a tuck where I could put my backpack up there and just tuck my backpack up top so I can just pull it out like a little cubby hole right above the bed, you know, type deal. And I could use store food up there where it's higher up, and I don't have to worry about animals getting into the food or anything like that, so I can kind of make it a closed-in box right up there at the peak. Keep my food and everything like that stored up in there, kind of keep the raccoons and shit away from it a little bit. That's a thought. But this is a work in progress. I don't sit at home drafting this shit up on a sketch pad and then coming out here and doing it. Whenever I come out here, I have no fucking plan. And not until I get out here and I see what the conditions are in the woods. So this ain't planned out. We're just sort of fucking doing this as we go along. There's no blueprint for this fucking thing. It's just imagination. This is pure imagination done on a fucking live stream. Those of you guys who caught the first live stream where I was just putting the A-frame up, this motherfucker fell over on me 3 times during that live stream. Like, and it wasn't easy just getting it up off the ground, but once we got it up and stabilized, we started putting them panels in for the walls. She turned into, she's rock solid now. But she's had months to settle too. As we're building this, everything that we put into it so far has had months of different weather conditions and shit like that to sort of tighten up and settle down. So you see that in construction a lot. They're not just slapping shit up in a single fucking day, because if they did, the foundation would crack, the walls would crack, because that thing has to be able to move. It has to be able to settle. You see these new houses go up. They're putting these houses up in record time. Within a couple of months, their fucking walls are cracking, or they have foundation damage because they put them up too fast. This is going to be a semi-permanent shelter. We're going to maintain it as long as we can. We're going to be spending a lot of time down here, probably over the next couple of years. So taking our time doing it and having it pure imagination and doing the construction part right here on the live stream where you guys get to see all the bloopers and everything uncut, that's kind of a cool deal. And I like having that unique feature to the channel. You don't see other people doing this kind of shit on a live stream. They either can't do it because they can't get a signal. I'm using this rig right here to boost my signal, so I can get this out to you guys during this live stream. So I'm rigged up as far as the tech goes to do the live streams, but even with the tech, you guys notice, you know, the live stream cut out a couple of times. We had to restart. It turned into a trilogy. I didn't plan on it being a trilogy. It's probably a good thing that it did, though, because the live streams are going a little long, and YouTubers don't like watching YouTube videos that are excessively long, especially videos or streams like this where I'm away from the camera and we're not talking. You have those huge gaps in there that I don't like having in there where I'm down there picking up the stone to do the floor. That was just part of the process today. There was no avoiding it. But whenever it comes to the woodwork, you know, I have all that wood ready to go, so you guys ain't waiting for me to saw a fucking log and then getting back to them. We're doing it one piece at a time. We do it 12 at a time, most of the time. It's work. Doing this project's work. It got hot today. It kind of clouded up here. All the sun glare's gone. But you guys have been with me since 2 o'clock this afternoon on this little trilogy. Each one of these live streams is going for over an hour. So breaking it up, that kind of helps. It also, like I said earlier, I don't know if I did it in this stream or the previous stream, having this live stream, this length of a live stream broke up into like a trilogy, means that whenever I get back home, after YouTube processes these videos and gets them back out to you guys in high definition, I can go in and I can put different tags on each video. So they're going to different sections, you know what I mean? Or they have a different set of tags to them, but it's the same damn stream. So you're kind of broadcasting it out to a larger audience. And the metadata with each one of them can be a little bit different. So I can talk about what I did in the first one. You want some wood processing? Here's a stick. Go fetch. There's the process. But what I was saying there, the metadata and everything, I can kind of describe what I did in this particular section of the video as far as busting the stone up. And then we move on to hauling the gravel up here, and then we got the wrap up. So we got all that kind of a breakdown into the situation too. So having the interruptions in the live stream is actually going to work out to our benefit. Different tags, different metadata for each video means it goes out to different people. And I can share 3 different videos today instead of just one. I released 3 videos today instead of just one. 3 live streams today instead of just one. It just happens to be an ongoing story. So yeah, it works. All right, start cleaning up here a little bit. My Bushcraft basket that I've been hauling my stone in, I want to have it propped up so it don't take on any more water damage or anything like that, kind of keep it a little dry. So I took it back up in there against the one wall that we got done, and then I can just grab this thing and haul with it like I was doing today. So always keep your tools, even the stuff that you make. Hey, Tom. Yeah, I didn't think I'd still be on either, brother, but I'll show you here in a second. For those of you who just came in, we got the stone floor done in the shelter today. We made up a basket to haul gravel from the creek, and I put this little, like I was saying earlier, I just knocked this out of a hollow tree trunk, red oak obviously, and I put this little curve right here, smooth out that curve so it fits up against my rib cage so I can use it like that. And we was hauling gravel from the creek up here to fill in the cracks in our stone floor just like that. I'll probably be using this again in the future. I can clean it up a little bit better, take the rough edges off later. But I ain't doing that today. We'll just pop it up back here so it stays dry. So yeah, we got the stone floor in and done. She's just got to settle down a little bit, and then we got to haul some more stone up here. But after she settles and gets cleaned up some. But yeah, it was a good time today. We've been going since 2 o'clock this afternoon though, but we did get some of it done. So there's the stone floor inside our Bushcraft build. We got dark stone from the forest floor. We're gonna go over there and take a look at it where I mined it out. And then we put the blue shell in there to kind of lighten it up a little bit and reflect our light back up from our LEDs whenever we're in there at night. We'll go ahead and go inside here. It's a pretty good footprint as far as the build goes. The build itself goes. Back here, let's see, be this stone right here. I'll be taking this stone out. This is where the fireplace is going to be. right in front of this big flat piece right here. So I'll actually probably be bringing out like a bottle of bleach or something like that and polishing this stone up really well, because if that's where my fireplace is going to be. This is where I'm going to be processing most of my food. Now, I'll process it on like a cutting board or something like that, but I want to go ahead and have this one cleaned up really good and sanitized somewhat. It's not going to stay sanitized, obviously, but this is our main plate for the fireplace. So the fireplace is going to go from this corner to that corner. And that'll be the front plate of the fireplace there. So we'll have this all leveled out and nice and neat, so whenever we're processing food, it's just nice, easy. We do it right there in front of the fire. And then going up the wall, up to this beam here, this is going to be a stone wall up to this beam, and then wood going up from there. So we have a little bit of reflecting light and heat from the fireplace along this whole wall. And this is also a westward facing wall. So having stone there rather than wood and cob or something like that is going to give us impenetrable windbreak. So our primary winds coming from the west, it's just going to cut down all of the draft, and that's going to be able to take a beating. Plus, this wall back here has to be able to support any snowdrift that piles up against it. Since the winds are always coming from the west, and I do have this huge valley snaking right behind me. This is the creek running beside. That's going to turn into a damn wind tunnel in the wintertime. Wind's going to be plowing this back wall. So this back wall has got to be at least 2 or 3 layers thick with the stone. So that's why this back wall is really important, just because our winters are so harsh here, and I'm right at the mouth of a fucking wind tunnel. So I want this back wall have extra reinforcement to it. So when I put the beams on, I'll have our regular beams on there, and I'll have the stone wall that'll reflect the fire, but on the outside of the shelter there'll be another wall, kind of like a false wall, that's a windbreak before it even gets to the main wall of the structure. So it's stopping all of that cold air that would come in the wintertime from ever being able to get through that wall, and it'll help keep the draft down around the fireplace. And then as far as the fireplace goes, since this is all going to be stone, we can have that inset a little bit, have a stone column going up for the fireplace, and then have that all filled in with clay. So whenever the fire is going, the first time we light that fire up, it's going to bake that clay and kind of cement that whole the chimney in. We'll get to the fire. The fireplace is going to be another live stream. Just building the fireplace is going to be a live stream, because in order to do the fireplace, we got to gather up the right kind of stones. You can't just grab any fucking stone anywhere. It's got to be right out of the right type of stone, or whenever the heat from the fire gets to it, your stone might explode on you. And you don't want to be inside a closed-in structure with fire going and the damn stone starts popping, because it just throws out like meteorites, this real fucking hot rock. So you have to have the right kind of stones to build your fireplace. You can't just build it out of anything. Anything that holds a lot of water is not something that you want to use around your fire. And I learned that lesson back in high school. Back in high school, I took this job using a cutting torch, and they took me down to a secondary shop to give me this cutting torch, and they had a drum from a concrete truck, and they said they wanted me to take that cutting torch up and just cut the drum from the truck up. I mean, big ass concrete drum, you know. So me not knowing any better, and them being the assholes that they were, let me take this cutting torch to this mixer drum from the back of a concrete truck, and as soon as that torch hit that concrete on the inside of the drum, it started shooting around in there like fucking bullets. After I got the first panel cut out of it, dropped it down to the ground, the shrapnel was bouncing around in there. It was ricocheting out and like cutting my face, like red hot fucking concrete coming out of that drum, cutting my face. All the guys were laughing and shit like that, but that's how I learned that concrete explodes when it gets close to fire. And a lot of your river stone will do the same. Just because it holds moisture, the water inside the rock expands so rapidly that the rock just explodes. It's not a good time. So that's something you have to think about when you're building your fireplace. And that's something we'll have to consider whenever we're down here harvesting stone for the fireplace. But one more time, That's the work we got done as far as the stone floor today. Fireplace and back firewall will be coming in a later live stream. I'll take you down here and show you the scar that I left on the forest floor from harvesting the stone out of the ground. If I don't drop you guys in the process. There we go. So this is the scar I left. Get the tripod set up here, right? Angle you down there a bit. There we go. This is the scar I left from taking all that stone out of the forest floor. Now, one thing we learned here as I was digging this up is this was a foundation for a previous structure. All this stone in here is probably from the 1800s and could have been a homestead or something like that, but this was perfectly fitted. We fitted it up there differently because I wanted to put the blue shell in there to lighten it up a little bit. But this was a floor of something from way back. It had about an inch or two of topsoil on it, so the forest had reclaimed the foundation, and it was just buried here. We found it on accident. I found it while I was out here filming an episode of Huntsman. I was just walking through here and I tripped over one of the sharp edges had poked up out of the ground. So I kicked it up, and then I kicked up another and another and another. So, yeah. Full can of beer in the fire. Brilliant idea. So yeah, the forest came in and just reclaimed this spot. Now, within a month or two, this scar that I left here from pulling all the stone out, this is just going to grow right up. I mean, the forest is going to take this and heal up pretty quick. But I do still have some stone here that's still buried. The last stone that I pulled out was absolutely fucking massive. We took the axe and we broke it up, and my axe shattered this shit. I mean, it's like 3 inches thick, but it still went right through it. But this is what we're looking at. That's the thickness of the stone that we're busting up. I mean, it's pretty heavy stone. It's going to be a good foundation for that shelter. This is just one of the pieces that we didn't haul up there yet. We still got the front porch to do and all that, so we'll be hauling some stone up for that in another live stream. But hopefully the next live stream set won't have the breaks in it like this one did, and we won't have so many gaps where I'm away from the camera for so long. Because when I go back on these videos and I'm looking at them, or if somebody else joining the live stream after the show is trying to watch the video, there's these huge gaps, like 5-6 minutes, where I'm not in the video. Nothing's happening. It's just me gathering up materials. I try to cut that out as best I can, but today it had to happen. I'm tired though. I'm tired. So that's the scar that we put in, and obviously it's the same damn size as the shoulder. Again, with this shoulder, I did not worry about getting the walls up first because I can always throw a tarp over it. Just throw the tarp over the A-frame there and camp in there just like it's a tent. Priority was getting a stone floor in, and I wanted to have the open air in order to do that. Yeah, I am, man. To be honest, I've been out here since 2 o'clock, and these stone slabs, I mean, look at them fuckers. Those are huge stone slabs. Most of them way more than I do. And I was carrying them fuckers up here by hand after busting them up with my axe. But yeah, I wanted to have the open air, because it's so damn hot out right now. I wanted to have the open air while I was doing this part of the project. Otherwise, it would have been so hot and suffocating in there. Plus, if I had the walls up, I wouldn't have been able to stand up in there like I was doing, to get the stone moved in there. So, it works not having the walls up today. If I did want to stay out here at this site, now that we got the stone floor in, it'd be a hell of a spot to camp out, because I could just build a campfire right there on the stone. I ain't gonna hurt that fucking stone on. Throw my 10x10 tarp over the A-frame, and I'm good. So, yeah, as far as having wood walls on it, it didn't matter. I could always throw my tarp over the A-frame. Once an A-frame is up, you can use, cover it with whatever you want. This just worked out. But yeah, I'm beat. And I still got some filming regular video to do. to recap this, so you know people don't have to go back through the whole live stream to get the highlights and how this all worked out. So, but it's working out. It's just it's a long process doing a project like this. I mean, how many bushcraft builds have you seen have fucking stone floors in them? Guys don't do this. They'll just leave it bare, you know. Put the structure up, leave it a dirt floor, and throw a, you know, their highlight is oh, I got a fake deer hide I'm gonna throw down on it. Whatever. Yeah, she's a good structure. So, if I can back you guys up here a little bit, we'll go over one key point here of why I did the floor the way that I did. I'll show you guys right now. I should be able to do it. So you can kind of see the floor there, right? This is my LED lantern, my Vaunt lantern. I left the hook right up here at the top of the peak. So I put my lantern up on that hook like that, and the blue shell down here on the floor reflects the light back up. So I got two light sources. That's why I put the blue shell in there, is to reflect the light back from my LED lantern, so the floor is going to glow at night. When we get this thing done and it's all closed in and it's dark as shit in there, even in broad daylight, because we got it filled, we're going to fill all the cracks in with cob. We're going to need good light, so I can have that cracked open, knowing that the floor is going to reflect the light. It's just bouncing back and forth between the LED and the floor. It's going to glow, and I'll actually have light coming from the floor itself, which is going to help illuminate that a lot. Even whenever I have a fire going in there, that blue shell is going to illuminate it a lot better than just having a dirt floor or just a black stone. Man, guys, it's work though. So, yeah, don't go out there with any illusions that this ain't going to kick your fucking ass, because I'm in pretty good shape and this is kicking my ass. This is a long-term shelter, and it's a long-term build. But it's fun hanging out in these live streams and doing it with the community rather than, you know, coming out here. And other guys that do this, they'll come out for a week. They're not just doing it in one day like, you know, like I'm doing it here. They'll come out for a week, or they'll film for a month before they pop that show up on their channel. They're just hoarding the footage. So it looks like they're doing it in record time, that it's an easy deal. But they spend just as much time as I'm doing on these live streams with these builds. They're just cutting out all the shit. Doing it in a live stream like this is just reality. This is how it's done. This is, you know, how you do it. This is all the stuff that goes wrong. And it's unedited and in real time. Yeah, move out here. I'll tell you what, I'll never be homeless. I may be houseless, but yeah, this is gonna work. It's gonna be, as far as I'm concerned, it's gonna turn out to be a storybook cottage. I mean, you can't see it right now, but it's just like earlier in the stream, when everybody was talking to me about the kind of gear that I'm carrying with me, like the Victorian compass and the flask that I'm carrying. I'll show you guys here real quick for those of you new. I don't know, Tom, I don't know if you've seen this before or not, but I had a bottle of wine out here with me. This is my wine bottle that I carry with me. I had a buddy made this for me, and it just hooks right onto my belt. Got a clasp here at the front where I can just pull the bottle out, and I don't have to take it off my belt. But I was drinking out of this today instead of a tin cup or a canteen or something like that. Real heavy glass that can take a knock and not get broke. I don't have to worry about it breaking. But you don't see shit like this in bushcraft videos. You don't see shit like a stone floor in bushcraft videos. You don't see a compass like this in bushcraft. I mean, this is the type of gear that I like. You know, that kind of compass and sundial. And rather than carrying a canteen, I'm carrying something like that, which is genuine leather. You know, and it looks like something out of a fantasy novel. Same with the damn compass. But this is going back to my childhood. This is going back to the books that I read when I was a kid and watching Lord of the Rings and shit like that. You know what I mean? You have a little bit of imagination in your gear. So yeah, whenever it comes to this build, it's not going to be your stereotypical bushcraft build. It's not going to look the same as any other survival shelter that's out there. When we get this done, we get the structure itself built, then we'll get into the decorating part of it, and we're going to blend this right into the forest. As I mentioned in a previous live stream of this build, I'm going to have the forest floor going right up the structure. It's going to be a man-made cave. As far as the A-frame itself goes, not the front wall. The front wall is going to look like a storybook cottage. That's how we're going to design it. We're going to use crooked limbs rather than straight beams. It's going to look like a witch's cottage in the woods. That's just a false front, but that's the way that I want it to look. It's going to look awesome in the fucking picture. And we got stone floor. We got a fireplace built in there, and it's an actual fireplace, a working fireplace. We're going to build all that during the live stream series, you know, so you guys will see me do it. But if you guys stick with me through this project, by the time we get this thing done, and we're standing back there, down by the creek, and we're taking a look at this, it's going to look like something out of a fucking fantasy novel. And you guys were here with me step by step through the whole process of, you know, putting the A-frame up, hauling all the damn stone for that stone floor that we put in there today. We're going to be building the fireplace, the back stone wall coming up. Our next live stream, we're probably going to be putting some more wood on. Now that we got the stone floor in there, I have to get the walls on so I can bring more stone up and fill in the gap between the wall itself and the floor. That little edge there all the way around the structure has got to be filled in with stone. So we got to get the walls up next to finish off the outer edge of the floor. And that'll help support our beams. The beams will actually be surrounded by stone because we got the stone border all the way around it, and then we'll have stone on the inside of it kind of supporting them. They won't be sitting on mud, so they won't rot out so fast. Yep. It's a bigger picture. There's a bigger picture to everything. And then we'll take a little walk right here. We're going to be wrapping this up though, guys. Tiny little fucking detail right here, just coming down here behind the build. Ugh. And we have that shit like that. Other bushcrafters are not bringing fucking flowers out and planting flowers around their fucking bushcraft shelter. They're not doing it. And the only reason I did is because it looks cool. And it brings in hummingbirds. It's also good for the bees. I'm trying to support the bee population as much as I can because if the honeybees go, we go. If I get honeybees down here and hummingbirds down here, it's going to help them. They're going to help pollinate my blackberry patch that I got over there, or anything else that I bring down here. I want the bugs around, certain types of bugs around anyway. But yeah, you don't see guys out there planting fucking flowers next to their goddamn bushcraft camp. They ain't going to do that. It's not manly. But we're trying to develop an entire world here. It's not just the shelter itself. If you look at basically what's our front yard, we got three ridges that we landscaped into this whole thing. I mean, it's a long process to kind of landscape the entire area around your camp, but that's what we're doing. Now, long term, as this all settles down, that wood starts rotting. I'm going to be able to sit out here on the front porch of my storybook cottage, and I'll look out here and I'll see, I'll see mushrooms growing and wildflowers growing because all that wood rotting, all kinds of fungus and mushrooms going to grow around those rings. So I have 3 rings of mushrooms out there in my front yard. You know, that's the vision anyway. And wildflowers growing on those high ridges with the cleared out areas in between. There's a whole bigger picture to this project than just building this and coming out here fixing a breakfast bagel. We're processing the entire forest around the camp, just like the meadow and that stone column over there. That stone column's got ivy growing around it right now that we brought in. Go past the stone column and we got a wall of blackberry thorns, where we can go there and harvest blackberries in late summer, early fall. But it's a wall of thorns. There ain't nobody getting through that fucker once it goes to town, except for the deer. And they'll get in there and they'll bed down in there in the wintertime. So we're giving shelter to the wildlife, a food source to the wildlife, a food source to us, and it's a natural barrier So anything coming in from the south is going to have a hell of a time getting through that wall of thorns to get up here to the camp. Always a bigger picture. This was a good series. It was a good time hanging out with everybody today. But we're going to have to call it. Got all our tools gathered up and packed away. Now got to go home and polish the old axe up some. Get that head oiled up. Tom, if you're still around, I did mention Deep Woods Bushcraft and Survival here in this live stream. Anybody wants to check out Deep Woods Bushcraft and Survival over on Facebook, I'll leave a link down in the description of this episode of the live stream so you can go check them out. That's where I got my black pearl handle bushcraft knife at that you guys saw earlier. And they're great for hanging out with and swapping information, learning from other people. It's always a good time. I'm just packing my shit up here, making sure I got everything together. Man, it was a workload today getting that stone floor done, but we did get it done in 3 episodes, but one afternoon, which is pretty cool. The only other thing I have to do out here today, guys, is turn the trail cam back on. So it's filming the site while we're away. We already got some deer on there. They came in here and got the bag of apples that I left out here the last time that I was out. When we was out here just scouting, and I got caught up in a flash flood. So if you guys missed Friday night's episode of Huntsman, you ought to check it out. I was hiking. I started hiking in the morning, and I had a nice sunny day, right? The storm cloud rolls in, and it rains for about 20 minutes. So the rain came and went. I get closer and closer to camp, and I start heading towards the creek, because usually I bring the creek up to camp. I get to the creek, and it is just hauling ass, and it looks like fucking chocolate milk. I mean, it's just roaring. With a flash flood just came through and wiped everything out, and I was stuck. Like, I couldn't get in, I couldn't get out, because everything around here is surrounded by creeks. This is all cut up by ravines and tributaries going down into the main river. So I'm stuck on this island, and I had to navigate my way up through a briar patch and up to the top of the ridge that's actually behind the camp here in order to get down here to camp and some relative safety, because I knew if I made it to camp I'd be alright no matter how bad the flooding got. So I get to the top of the ridge, we do Huntsman slide, we get down here to camp. I feel safe and secure once I got to camp because I knew I could stay here, no problems. I got plenty of stuff around here to keep me going. Yeah, definitely check out that episode. We did the river crossing during a flash flood, and it was some intense footage. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, everything's back down to normal now, so it's going to be an easy hike getting out of here, which is a blessing today because of the workload that we did. If I had my way, and I didn't have other shit going on tonight, I'd probably just fucking hang out here at camp and just crash. But I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I'd crash for a couple hours, get a couple hours of sleep, and then hike out. Whether it's after dark or not, I don't care. But we're not going to do that. I got other things I got to do. Got the regular camera here with me today to film another video after we close this down. I actually don't know if I'm going to film the other video or not. I'm so goddamn tired, I'm afraid it'll show up in the work. So, yeah, we got to turn the trail cam back on, get it up and running. We're going to leave this black flag out here today. I did bring another t-shirt with me because I wore this all day today. But I want to leave it out here because it's got my scent on it. And the deer's got to get used to my scent again. So, I'll be hanging this particular t-shirt up in the tree that we worked in today, and then they can come up and tinker around with my scent in the area. We've talked about that a million times before, right? So we're just gonna hang this up in the tree right quick, get the trail cam back on, and then we'll be shutting this down. Oh, good trilogy today, though, guys. Good trilogy and a lot of fucking work done on that build. Like I said, we had interruptions in the stream. It was freezing up on me. And my iPhone was overheating. It's since cooled down. It got hot as hell out here today, though. It's since cooled down. I usually just hang this up. I just hang this up right here on this hook. It's right beside the trail cam there, and then all the bait's down here in the front. So that just keeps my scent in the woods. And hang it up in a tree like this, it actually cleans it off. So the next time I come out here, it's actually pretty fresh before I try to put it back on and work in it again. We got the trail cam going on right here. We're not going to turn that on until I'm moving out of the woods because it'll pick up my last image as I'm walking out. So that's all set. The deer's all set. The floor's all set. It's got to settle some. As I said, probably 5 or 6 times already. I'll probably have to bring a little bit more stone up in here after that settles down some. And, you know, level out the cracks. We get a good rain in here since I don't have the roof on it yet. It'll wash all this stone off and I'll have a nice polished floor to work with. Probably by the next time we do another live stream. I'm sure it'll rain within the next week, but that's gonna clean off this stone floor pretty damn good, I think. I like it. And we do have this stone here. Yeah, and for those of you who missed the earlier stream, all of these stones are flat except for this big diamond stone that we put here in the middle. And we put this at a different angle, which threw off the floor and made our cracks a little bit wider. But this is more of a decorative piece that we put in here. Those grooves in there are caused by it being exposed to water. That's water running through there. Hey, I just worked all the meat off my bones, damn it. And like I said, I ain't got the Bushcraft bagel out here with me today. Yeah, I'll go home and get me a steak or something, right? Whew. I like the woods this time of day. It's just before twilight. You know, the sun's going down, it's behind the ridge back there. You see some of it. But things are cooling down. The birds are chirping, kind of settling in for the night. I do like this time of day in the woods. This is the time of day where everything kind of gets quiet and you just want to fucking sit here and chill like you're sitting on your front porch. Right now I'm sitting on my brand new stone floor. I had a guy ask me on Facebook, he private messaged me on Facebook asking me about my wristbands and why I wear these damn things all the time. I had a buddy of these make this for me. Goddamn, it's been probably a decade ago. I've been wearing them ever since. My daughter had wrapped these up for me. We got them in the mail, and she had wrapped these up for me and given them to me as a Father's Day present. And whenever I first got them, they had leather ties in here, but I replaced the ties with a good length of paracord. So the bracers that I'm wearing are actually extra paracord, and it's rough leather on the inside, so I can take this off. I can use the paracord, and then I can use the leather on the inside of the bracer to hone my knife after I sharpen it. Pretty cool, huh? So yeah, that's why I'm wearing this. It's actually a piece of kit, but I never talked about that before. Leather to hone the knife, and extra paracord. And it's a little bit cooler than one of those dinky ass little paracord bracelets that you see with a little compass on it that don't actually work. Yeah, Huntsman's got all kinds of unconventional outdoors gear. A fucking glass and leather wine flask, Victorian compass, spyglass that I did not bring with me today, otherwise I would have showed you the spyglass that I normally carry with me, rather than a pair of expensive ass binoculars. So when I'm up there on the top ridge and I'm trying to spot deer down here, I'm using a single eye Victorian age spyglass that only magnifies a few times to spot those deer with, rather than a pair of expensive binoculars that I could zoom in with, or even you know, one of the digital range finders or any of that other shit. I don't use that stuff. I use old world shit. I got used to that, using that stuff when I was a kid. The digital stuff is awesome for, you know, footage and stuff like that, but the old school stuff, you could make that stuff. Like, if the market was gone, you could still make a spyglass, you know, with concave glass and shit like that. You can make a spyglass. You can make a Victorian style compass like you saw. You can make a glass bottle with a leather wrap to carry water or wine or whiskey or something like that, and you can make that shit yourself. That's do-it-yourself stuff. Whenever it comes to the digital stuff that's full of electronic components and prisms and all of that other stuff, you can't just whip that up out of spare parts, you know? So, having that gear and using that gear all the time the way that I do, it's important to me just because it's reliable shit. That's stuff that was used for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And it's just a lot better and a lot more dependable because it's been used for hundreds or thousands of fucking years. It's never changed. It's just basic shit. It's just basic science. So, yeah, that's stuff that if you know how it works, you can make it. You don't have to worry about the electronics going out on it or something like that, or needing a battery for it or some shit. You just grab it and go. You can make a spyglass like the one that I got out of wood if you wanted to. If you just, you know, you fashion the glass lens, make that curvature in the lens. You gotta have 2 or 3 lenses in there to magnify it. But yeah, you can get a little bit of magnification off of it. It's not the best, it's not the greatest, but it's harder. It's harder to work with a compass that's got a sundial on it. It's harder to work rather than a digital, you know, GPS or one of the fancy military compasses that you got. It's not as dependable because you're going to magnetic north, and that changes. And the magnet in there, the needle in there is a lot weaker than a military style compass would be. So you got to be able to think on top of your gear. That makes you more self-reliant and less gear-reliant, you know what I mean? So it's important for me to use old school stuff. Not only does it look cool, and it's a nice little signature to the series, but it's more dependable, and it's your skills are factored into that more than what the gear can do for you. Anyway, guys, I still got to hike out of here. I still got to do the wrap-up video. So we're going to be shutting down this live stream. I appreciate everybody who hung out with me all fucking day long today. We've been doing this since 2 o'clock through 3 different live streams. It's almost 6:30 here now. So, yeah. We hauled ass on this shelter build today. Getting that stone floor done was the heavy lifting part. The rest of it's just cutting some wood and throwing it up there. The next round of heavy lifting is going to be that stone wall. Because the stones have got to be pretty well fitted. So that's going to be a treasure hunt. Now, whenever it comes to the stone wall, I don't know how I'm going to do that in a live stream. Because like I said, it's a treasure hunt. You got to have stones that fit together, and I got to bring all this stone up from the creek. So I'm probably going to process it the same way that I do the wood. I'll have all of the stone that I'm going to need for that wall already hauled up here. So you guys don't have that huge gap in time of me running down the creek, finding a rock and hauling it up here. Running down the creek, finding a rock. Because it's going to be one at a time, pretty much. Some of them bitches are going to be heavy. So I'll get out here for a day or two. I'll haul all the stone up here. More than enough stone than what we're going to need for the to build the back wall. And then before I start live streaming, I'll go ahead and mix the clay up. That'll basically make the mortar. It'll be sand and clay mix to make up some mortar to put in between those stones and help hold them together until it all settles up. Hopefully it never falls over on us. And then I'll get out here for a couple more days and do the wood processing. So the next time we're putting wood up on, you know, filling those walls in back there, the wood's already cut to length. And all we gotta do is prop it up and close in those panels. It just goes faster for you guys. I do the work. You guys get the enjoyment out of seeing this thing go up. So as far as the workload itself goes, hauling stone, dragging the logs up here and cutting them, I do that off camera. When it's ready to go and we're ready to start getting our hands on the structure itself, that's when we go live. Today was a little bit different because I wasn't going to pry all that goddamn rock out, haul it up here and just have it in stacks. I coulda, but I didn't want to. and it's my channel, so I didn't. So there was some gaps in this live stream where you guys just hung out in the chat for a little bit, and I was down there prying rocks out of the fucking ground and bringing them up here. I did take you down there with me that one time too, and show you what I was doing while I was off camera, so I hope that explained it a little bit. I am sorry for those gaps. I'm sorry if the live stream gets boring when that happens, but a lot of the times that's the way the outdoors is. There's a whole lot of nothing time, a whole lot of downtime, especially in a survival situation. And I appreciate that, Jessica. Whenever you're out here, there is a lot of downtime, and so experience it in a live stream where it's just boring and there's nothing. If you guys can actually go through this live stream and watch it all the way through and not skip those spots where I'm not on camera and I'm not talking, that's just practice for you. To sit and look at the forest and there's nothing happening there. It's just boring. That's the way it is out here sometimes. A lot of the times it's just boring. I try to take the boring parts out, and whenever we go live, it's a good show. So yeah, I'm gonna be wrapping this up, guys. Yeah, bathroom break, go get a snack. Yeah, it's like an intermission. These live streams have been going on. This live stream, this series of live streams went long. We went long today. This is probably the longest set I've ever done. I don't know, but that was a big heavy lifting project. I knew it was going to take a toll. I knew it was going to take some time, so I was ready for that. I need to get home, get something to eat, get some coffee in me, hang out with my dog. Our oldest dog, Bailey, call her Bear is a nickname. She's a Shepherd Lab mix. Last week she started having trouble walking, but the next day she was fine. Today has been a week, and she can't see hardly at all. She can see movement, and she can see peripheral vision, but her eyes are clouded over. So she's going blind, and she's lost a lot of weight with it. I don't know what we're going to be doing with her. We're trying to take care of her now. We're trying to give her time to adjust to being blind. She is an older dog, I think. Courtney's had her for 9 years. 9 or 10 years. So she is an older Shepherd Lab. And with the Shepherd in her, you know, the hip dysplasia and stuff like that could come in. But she's not doing too good right now, so we're spending a lot of time with her. And we're trying to get her to a vet. My wife actually put up a GoFundMe to help pay for the vet bill for our dog. So I don't know if I'm going to be losing a family member there or not. It's really hard on us right now, dealing with her blindness, but I do need to get home, spend some more time with her, especially after dark. She can't see after dark, so yeah, get home, spend some time with her, and you know, I have to walk her outside and walk her back in because she can't see her way in and out of the house now. But yeah, got that going on, so trying to take care of her. That's always weighing on my mind, even whenever I'm out here doing this kind of thing. I know I got my, you know, my little girl's back there, and she's not in a good state. So, like I said, my wife put up a GoFundMe. I think I shared it on the Huntsman Facebook pages. She put up a GoFundMe for Bailey. We got some pictures of her up there. You guys can at least, you know, see her. You don't have to donate. I'm not asking you to donate or anything like that, but if you could share that out. I mean, if you're on the Huntsman Facebook page, just share it out. You know, maybe get some help for Bailey. Even having her euthanized and cremated or something like that's like $350, $400. So, and with me not working because I got fired 2 weeks ago, things are really difficult with all of that right now. But anyway, guys, like I said, I'm gonna wrap this up and head on home. Keep an eye on my girls. Take care of Bailey as much as I can. Next live stream will probably be doing some woodworking, and I'll have the stone up here for that lower back wall. So it'll be mixed up a little bit between the wood and getting the back wall on. And then we'll try to do some other things. I'll come out here and we'll actually stop midway through the day. I'll come out in the morning, start live streaming. We'll stop midway through the day and fix us some lunch. So we'll have a sit-down lunch, maybe even bring a bagel. And yeah, just kind of break it up a little bit more than what we did today. But I appreciate everybody came along with me for the trilogy today. Hang out with me all day long, putting this stone floor in. We'll take one last look at it, and then we'll be shutting the stream down. And I can get on out of here. So here's the progress on our bushcraft build so far. Once again, we don't do any work to this structure itself unless we're live. So all of this stuff has happened. It's been captured on a live stream rather than in an edited video. A lot of work done so far. A lot of work to go yet, obviously. But like I said, I could always throw a tarp over this and we got us a shelter. So that's it for today, guys. I appreciate everybody that came along with me and all of you who shared this out on your Twitter and Facebook. That's how we get more people in here and get to enjoy this little project together. It would be really boring without you guys out here hanging out with me. It's not like I got a lot of people around me to talk to. We done tapped out the battery pack there, I'll tell you that. So I don't know when we'll be doing our next live stream. We'll do it as soon as I can. Maybe next weekend, depending on how things work out. We'll get back out here and do a little bit more of the build. The next few videos of the Huntsman series, we're going to be down here just hanging out. We'll take a little bit closer look at the forest itself. Start tracking the deer. We'll take a look at the trail cam footage. I got to remember to turn that damn thing back on. And then we go live when we start building again. So if you want to see the details of the forest and you want to track the deer with me, tune into the show on Friday night at 8 o'clock. Regular episodes of Huntsman. And that's where we'll be doing all that fun stuff at. And we'll be coming out here cooking and drinking and having a damn good time. Whenever it comes to live streams, that's work day. We come out here and we work on our structure. So once again, thank you guys. I really appreciate everybody came along with me today. I'll see you guys next trip.